good evening, everyone. This is Oscar November 8, November Tango with the Denby Dale Amateur Radio Society Digital Net on Thursday evening every week at, at 1800 hours UTC, which is 1930 British time, and 2030 here in Western Europe. A very good evening to everyone, and nice to have you all here on board on this net. And first of all, checking if there anyone if there is anyone who wants to join in from the GB7 Hotel X-Ray repeater. Is there anyone there who wants to join the net for Moment 8 November Tango in the group? No one. So let's go to the first ham there. First of all, a short reminder: please leave 3 to 4 seconds between overs. That makes it much more easier for all these ICT systems to reset and to get in order again. So Adrian, Golf 6, Mexico, Juliet, Quebec, the Grupo 8 November Tango. Go ahead.
Oscar November 8, November Tango. Hi, Jeff. I guess the other Jeff is unobtainable today. I don't know if it's anything to do with his wife. Maybe there's an update on that, because I know she wasn't too brilliant the other day. Well, I made it on the net for once. Apologies for my absence, it's very often evenings are difficult because I can be on cooking duty, etc., and with family here and what have you. So at last I've made it, and well, it's been a dull day here in West Yorkshire, and cold as well. And the only excitement today was I chaired the squirrel net on Northwest Fusion Group this morning, because Linda, who normally does it, G0YLM, is away with Ian in the motorhome. She joined the net, but we never know how reliable it's going to be. So, good evening to everybody anyway, and more about what I've been playing around with later. Back to you, Jeff. ON8, November Tango, G6MJQ, Skelmanthorpe, West Yorkshire.
Golf 6, Mexico, Juliet, Quebec, the Grupo 8 November Tango. Yeah, very nice to have you again. Adrian, very nice, and I understand, yes, some duties are quite important in the family. Okay, well, Jeff, Mike Zero AUG, I think his wife would get a kind of a celebration in her local women's group. So, and Jeff has to be the driver, to drive her to that, and it is something he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to delete or to cancel for any way or another, because I think it's quite important. She had some years of voluntary service there in that women's group. So and I think she deserves a little celebration anyway. So that's why I'm stepping in. Let's go to Denmark. Oscar Zulu 1 Juliet Kilo uniform. Fraser, how are you in Denmark? From 8 November Tango in the group.
Hi to the group. How's everyone, JKU? Yeah, well, I've been absent for a few weeks. I'm sorry about that, but various things happened, and we have a bed and breakfast to run, but that wasn't really the main problem. It's just been social. It's a bit like Jeff at the moment. It's sort of 8:30 here, and quite often we've been invited out for a meal, so therefore I haven't been at home to be able to come on the net, which is not so good of me. Basically, nothing very much has changed here. The conditions, HF-wise, have been awful. I was expecting to be a lot better. I've got a Duff antenna. I put up a new antenna which is 141 feet long, which is a recommended length, and it's a long wire. Fed with a 9-to-1 balun, etc., but it's got 30 meters of coax before that. And basically, I think it's like a dummy low because nothing much happens, and I can hear myself about 100 miles away on an SDR, and I'm fairly good signal on 40 meters. But anything else, nothing happens. But looking at all the SDRs and various nets that we're on during the week, it has been pretty flat, so therefore maybe I'm being a bit despondent about what I put up at the moment. So I'm just waiting. Hopefully we'll get a good day and it'll all go fantastically well. But at the moment, very disappointed with this cycle, sunspot cycle, and we just seem to have to wait. But I think Bob over in the US has also had the same problems as well. Not fantastic conditions, and others have reported on the WhatsApp chat as well that things are hard going, but there is DX around if you want it. Anyway, long over from me, beg your pardon. So back to you, Jeff, ON8 NT 071 JKU.
Okay, Fraser, yeah, very good. Well, that's more or less also my observation, although there are some surprises. Yesterday evening, after the excellent presentation on Marconi, I just went to 70 meters shortly before going to bed, and a lot of Japanese stations. So I was able to work some Japanese stations yesterday evening after the meeting, and then this morning around, well, what is it, 7 o'clock GMT, I was, or UTC, 7 o'clock UTC, I was able to work some VKs, but that's all on digital mode on FT8, which is with my 15 watts, and my mobile Ripple the balcony is is the mode to use, so to say. Okie doke. Nick, go for India Whiskey Oscar, the group ON8 November Tango. Go ahead, Nick.
Yes, ON8 November Tango in the group from G4IWO. Good evening to you, Jeff, and a good evening to all of those on the net, and of course those listening live on YouTube and on GP7HX. And of course to those listening live later in the week when we have a large group of people who catch up and listen to the net at their leisure during the week. So I hope you find this interesting. To Adi, first of all, and you can comment on this on the next over, I hope, Adi. I hope you enjoyed the trip over to Oldham and the contact that you and Jeff made from Oldham's setup there to Tom ZS1AFS down in the bottom of South Africa there. I know Jeff was extremely pleased to have made that contact, and I'm glad we were able to facilitate that with Tom, because he's very keen to work members of the club. And can I say to everyone else on the net and those listening that Tom ZS1AFS is one of our club members, and he's very happy for us to facilitate contacts with him whenever people are available. He tends to get on to HF in the afternoons, and he tells me that round about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, British summertime, he's likely to be found on single sideband on 28-400 on 10 meters. But if people want to drop me a note, and I can check with Tom his availability to make a sked if someone's after doing that. So apart from that, I'll comment later, other than to say I hope everyone enjoyed the Marconi talk last night. I thought James gave a great presentation. It was really interesting, and a nice discussion afterwards. So back to you, Jeff. ON8NT in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO and acknowledging Gold Mike 4 Juliet Hello Zulu. Good evening, Keith. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, that was quite interesting. The meeting yesterday evening, I really liked that talk because it was a little bit the human being after the well-known engineer or the well-known inventor. That gives it a little bit more color to the person, so to say. So I really enjoyed that talk and interesting. And thank you very much for the information about Tom in South Africa. I really wanted to have a QSO one day with him. I don't know if he is using some CW or so. I don't think so, but nevertheless, that might be a little bit easier for me to get a contract. But you never know. You never know. If conditions improve, that could be possible. And let's go to Mike 0, Romeo Oscar Lima. Very good evening, Andrew, from 08 November Tango in the group. How was your week?
Oh, 08 November Tango in the group is M0R. Well, good evening, Nick, and good evening everyone else that's on the net tonight. I think that winter has come back again in this part of the woods. It's turned particularly cold and wet today, so it's not been the best of days. But the week's been okay. My wife is having to spend a lot of time up in Stockport with her father, so I have free reign of the place down in Minehead, and Amazon deliverers are queued up outside the door, which can't be done when the wife's at home. But very little on the radio. I have to say, and I apologise for not making last week's net. I completely lost track of time. I've got an allotment, and I was probably busy talking to my potatoes and making them grow more. And by the time I got back, it was gone 7 o'clock. Gone 8 o'clock, beg your pardon. And I was too late to join the net, so apologies about that, Jeff. I'll make this a little bit short on the first one, and back to you. 08 November Tango in the group. This is M0R.
Mike 0, Romeo Oscar Lima and the group 08 November Tango. Yeah, no problem, Andrew. That's the things of life as it happens. And you totally agree on the weather. It's the same here, dull weather, 10 degrees more or less, rain and wind, heavy wind. We are promised to have a better temperature, the temperature at least over the weekend. Maybe 70 degrees or something, and Monday is 70 degrees and dry weather. So we are really looking to that. Okay, I hope that the States, the weather is better. Go ahead, Bob. November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango, the group 08 November Tango. 08 November Tango with the group, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango. First of all, good evening to all on the net. It looks like a good net this evening. First of all, I agree with Fraser on conditions have been poor recently. Today they seem to be picking up just a bit. Today they seem to be a bit better. But what surprises me this morning, along with Fraser and Nick G0LFF, during our conversation, Nick reported that one FT8 that he had worked in Marianne as a KH0. So conditions can't be completely down if you can work a KH0 from the UK. So I think that things are picking up just a bit. The other news is that this Sunday, a group of us has been invited to Dry Dock 3 to visit the battleship. I don't know that I'm going to be able to climb down to get under it and look at the hull, but I'm hoping that once they find out that they can, they'll still let me walk around the top along Dry Dock 3. I am looking forward to that. And as for last night's presentation, it was outstanding. This morning, of course, Nick downloads it to YouTube. I, in turn, download it so that I can look at it anytime I want. So I've already downloaded it, and I probably will view it again and probably save some of those photos that were published for my own personal files. With that, back to you, Jeff. ON8ND with the group, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango. Okay, Roger Box, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango, the group ON8, November Tango, and okay about the conditions. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes there are surprises. Sometimes there are surprises, like yesterday evening, all those Japanese stations. On an empty band, more or less. There was not much else that I could hear, but the Japanese were there, definitely. And okay about your visit to the battleship on Sunday and the docks there. Very curious to know how that went, Bob, and we will probably hear a report about it on next week or so. Okay, no. Now up to Dave. Go 6 Zulu Sierra November. The group ON8 November Tango. Go ahead, Dave. Oscar November 8 November Tango. Thank you for the promotion, Jeff. Unfortunately, there is no way do I deserve a G4. Not being able to read Morse. Tried, but failed dismally. So I'll remain a G6 for the rest of my life, I'm afraid. Not much happening here. As everyone else has said, there's bands are atrocious, but I must admit I've been pulling in some very, very strange signals. I got Israel this afternoon or this evening until they faded out. I've had a lot of the Middle East, but not as far as Japan, I'm afraid. I've never seemed to have got that far, but there's no way do I think I'm going to return a signal with 100 watts. I was hoping to go up on the hills this afternoon, but A, it's too cold, and B, I was just driving a new car, because mine goes in August and I have to order a new one, so I'm trying to find a replacement for it with great difficulty. But that's another matter. And AD, I don't know if you've got a base for your 6100. I bought one yesterday. It's acrylic with 3 bars which run through to hold it in line, really. It's very cheapish, really, but costs just over 20 odd quid with postage. And I think it'll be a lot better than having it stood flat. Oscar November 8, November Tango from Golf 6 Sierra November. Roger, Dave, sorry for promoting you to a G4. No problem at all. Actually, I didn't know that was the difference between a G4 and a G6. Those are the particularities that you have in every national system. I think it was like the ON1s, Oscar November 1s, were no CW, and now they have access to HF without CW, like in most countries. And okay, about your new car, congratulations. If I understood that well, you will have a new car, or you have a new car. Congratulations. You probably will not be, in the fields in the first coming months or so. It's too new. Okay, back to Germany, which made some wonderful contacts, I think, as I read on WhatsApp. Delta Lima 1, Bravo Juliet Whiskey, and Delta Lima 8, Bravo Delta Tango. ON8 November Tango. Go ahead, Mike and Adriana.
Delta Lima 1, Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Very good evening to all. Nice to hear your voices again and to be part of the meeting again. I agree. Very strange conditions on HF, especially on SSB. I heard a ZL station in SSB 2 days ago in the morning. It was very strong, and very late in the morning also, about 8, no, it was even later, I think 8:30 UTC, something like that. astonishingly. But otherwise, signals always going up and down, up and down. Especially on 10 meters, I experienced strong fading lately. Signals growing, weaker, and getting stronger again, and sometimes disappearing, coming again. Very strange situation. But nevertheless, I was lucky to have some contacts here, and looking into the past, I am still astonished about that. So on FD8 and FD4, I worked India on 10 meters, Victor uniform, Samoa 5 Whiskey 1 on 17 meters, and Fiji 3 Delta 2 on 17 meters as well. And astonishingly, Victor Papa 8 Lima Papa Bob in the Falkland Islands was 1 watt on FD4 on 10 meters. I always wanted to try that because I've had several contacts on FD8 and FD4 with Falkland Islands, but never with 1 watt. But it succeeded. And CW contacts, also astonishingly, sometimes nothing to be heard, sometimes very exotic stations. I worked Thailand, Echo 29 on 20 meters. Australia on 15 meters, Vietnam 3 Whiskey 9 on 15 meters, and just a few hours ago in the afternoon here today, Tango India 5 Costa Rica on 10 meters. I can't explain it. Sometimes there's nothing, sometimes you can't believe it. It's always up and down. Well, keep our fingers crossed that situation will become a little bit more stable. And with that, I pass the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Very good evening to all of you. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, the weather conditions here in northern Germany are quite cold. During the night, the temperatures are near freezing point, but today was the first day in a series of days with no rain, but only up to 10 degrees centigrade. And during the last days, there had been more wind, and today it was not windy. So the weather conditions will improve a little bit. And so let's hope for the best, because we wanted to go to Kassel for the weekend, where the so-called Funktag, the ham radio day, will be celebrated. There will be an exhibition and a flea market, and Emil will make a talk, will have a talk about his expedition to Cameroon. So let's hope for the best that this will all be possible to take place. And then it's about Kassel, it's about 300 kilometers from here. And on our way back to Oldenburg, we want to go to the Harz Mountains. It's a little bit more north than Kassel, and we wanted to stay there for 2 nights and take a little bit of equipment with us. So let's hope for the best. Yes, equipment-wise, I have to report that my Zygo G90 has a few problems in receiving. I don't know what has happened. Everything has went well, but a few days ago, suddenly there were only a very, very low reception on all bands, on all modes, and with all possible antennas, on which I work with other with other transceivers, and it's not an antenna problem. And I have gone to the menu, and I think it's a technical problem in the reception. And I have made contact to Zygo Parts in Germany. There is not a distributor, but a ham who makes repairs for Zygos. And so I'm waiting for an answer from him. And so let's hope for the best. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So, I don't want to forget Adrian. Congrats to your contact with Tom, South Africa. Very, very good. So, yes, I hand the microphone back to Oscar November 8, November Tango for the group.
Okay, Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey and Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango from ON 8 November Tango in the group. Yeah, first of all, congrats, Mike, on your nice Gs. Unbelievable. So you really work there in all kinds of modes. You really work nice station, and I think that proves that probably both your antennas and the location is good, is of good quality. So that's you can have good antennas, but if the location is not good, that will not help. And if you are not a good location, well, maybe a less than optimum antenna will probably work, but I think both must be okay there. And okay about your move to Funkdag in Kassel, that's nice. That's not that far away from here either, actually. Very nice city, I think, Kassel. And I hope, Adrian, that your problems with the G90 are solved in good order, because that's really not pleasant. Because that is the kind of receiver you use, or you want to use, if you want to do some field operation. Although I know with you through XDX with the small QRP transceiver that you can also, of course, also make some QSOs. But anyway, okie-doke. Back to the borders of Scotland. Golf Mike 4 Juliet Kilo Zulu. How was your week there, Keith, from ON 8 November Tango in the group?
ON 8 November Tango in the group, GM4JKZ. Firstly, apologies for my voice. I've been recovering the last week or so from a chest and throat condition, but much better now. Firstly, congrats to Mike on his link down into the Falklands there. Very jealous. I'll have to listen out more on 10 metres, methinks. But conditions up here have been very similar to what everybody else has been experiencing over the last week or so. Strangely enough, my last contact was on the 14th, which was the RITI contest 2 weekends ago. And believe it or not, my first and my last contact of 102, that's all I worked, was down to the Brazilian PV2K contest station. So I thought I'd submit the entry anyway and see where we got to. And then strangely last night, I apologise, I actually missed the talk. I didn't want to come in through halfway, so I again will be downloading it to watch. It's a subject close to my heart as well. A lot of my old engineers, when I left the BT calibration laboratories as manager, a lot of old guys that eventually were made redundant moved across to work for the Marconi laboratories over in Essex. So I've been over there a few times, I must admit. So I had a quick listen around last night. I worked 2 Chinese stations. I worked one and the other one called me, which was quite interesting, but FT8 of course. And I've only managed to work 4 of those Italian, the Marconi stations today, the IR1 GMs. 2 on sideband, 1 on RITI and 1 on FT4. So I've accrued a princely score of 21 towards my 150 for a certificate or whatever. Don't think I'll get there before the end of the month. A bit too busy. So, cold winds up here, by the way, temperature-wise. And although it's been sunny, we did have house phones earlier this morning, but it's a bit chilly out there at the moment. So I'm keeping in the shack at the moment upstairs. So back to you there, Jeff, ON8NT, with the group from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ from ON8 November Tango group. Okay, I can hear that your voice is a little bit, not optimal, Keith. But anyway, you made it, and yeah. I think was it that the contest also 14 days ago for interesting group reaching contest. I think I just sent them a log. I just sent them a log. I made something like 85 contacts or so, although the contacts were also not brilliant and weekend. So yeah, we just try. And the PV2K is a constantly contest. I heard them. They are a huge contest station, I think. Okay, so let's start the loop again and see if there is anyone on GB7 Hotel X-Ray. You never know anyone on GB7 Hotel X-Ray who wants to join in the net. And by the way, greetings to everyone on YouTube. I forget to say that, but nice to have you all there listening on YouTube, or maybe during the next week following what's happening here. So anyone on GB7 Hotel X-Ray from the group ON8 November Tango? Nothing heard. Let's go to Adrian. G6MJQ, the group ON8 November Tango.
Oscar November 8, November Tango. Another G6 MJQ. Yeah, just because I didn't do them all. I know. I did try, but not hard enough. Wow, a fair few on the net tonight. It's great to be back, and quite a bit to comment on, so I'll just rattle through it. Jeff, thanks for the update on the other Jeff, AUG. Yeah, that's good news. Yeah, I just wondered if something was a bit, whether his wife was poorly tonight or what. But that's great news. Yeah, obviously recovering or recovered and enjoying the celebration. And brilliant news. Andrew, enjoying your photographs on Facebook. We should get some colour into them sometimes, but they're very, very atmospheric black and white photos. Yeah, really enjoying it. You never know, I might make it down to Minehead soon, and we can try some more activations there. Dave, yes, I haven't caught up on any holder for the Zygu X6100. It's got to be good, that, because I knocked mine off the coffee table the other day. I tripped over the antenna lead or power lead, and it went on the floor. And the little pull-out feet, while they're metal, one bent very slightly, but luckily I eased it back. So any information on that, offline, we won't hold things up tonight. But Dave, yeah, definitely interested. Adriana, Castle activations coming up. G90 problems, I guess you've done the usual things, factory reset, and then the firmware update. So having said that, yeah, it's got to be a problem with the G90. When I was over at the Oldham Club the other day, I actually had a play with one. The guy got it in his car, set up in his car. We used it with a mobile whip, and I was quite surprised how small the front of it is and the display, but quite impressive. Yeah, you just take a bit. G6MJQ. Sorry, Jeff. Just quickly go through. Yeah, long wires swap 9 to 1 unarmed. Mine works, and pretty good apart from noise, which I've got around it. But I might have time to update on that later. Flat conditions, yes. But the other afternoon, a few afternoons ago, later in the afternoon, there was a station on 10 metre side coming through QSB, but coming up to Whatever S9 from Tel Aviv, station from Tel Aviv, and then later in the evening, a station from Brazil. Not quite as powerful and less QSB, but both of them were part of. I just didn't stand a chance. I tried, but I didn't make contact with my 100 watts. So, yeah, things are strange, but worth keeping an eye on 10 metres, which is where Jeff and I contacted Tom the other Saturday, and that was sort of mid-afternoon. And Tom came, Jeff set it up, got the sked, and had the first contact, and then Tom went down in the noise a bit, and I said, Jeff said, do you want to try it? I said, well, I may not hear him, but, and then suddenly, sort of 30 minutes later, Tom came out of the noise, and it was over the moon. We got a 5 and 7 from Tom, and yeah, my first contact in South Africa. And yeah, absolutely stoked with that. Came home and even told Sue to spread the news. Yeah, and yeah, I'll pass it back to you. Oh, I realised that there's a book, The Dawn of Amateur Radio by Norman Jolly. And I was reading it prior to last night's talk, which I didn't make, so unfortunately. And it starts way back in the early days, you know, Sparks and things and Marconi and various others. But I didn't realise that the first society was the Radio Society of London, which became the RSGB sometime before 1913. But this little book is brilliant. Look, I'm going to pass it back to you, Jeff. ON8 November Tango from G6MJQ.
G6MJQ, the group ON8 November Tango. Yeah, okay. And first of all, congratulations, Andrew. Sorry, April, congratulations on your contact with Tom in South Africa. That's really, really a nice story, and I think I really, really would like to make that. But I know in Oldham Amateur Radio Group, they have a good station, they have a good antenna. So I think that probably helps a lot. And thank you for the information on the book. Interesting reading. Yeah. Maybe that's something to put on the WhatsApp group. If you have a photo of the group of the book or something, or a title, with that might be interesting to see on WhatsApp, Adrian. So that's maybe just a suggestion. Okay, let's go to Denmark. Oscar Zulu 1 Juliet Kilo uniform. The group of an 8 November Tango. Go ahead, Fraser.
Okay, Jeff, and to the group, and to the new people that I'm in the front of everything, so you've come along afterwards. But good evening to everybody as well. One to you, Andrew. buying off Amazon, touch, you know, while the wife's away, that's probably a good way to do it, but bit below the belt, as you might say. Anyway, Bob, battleship tour. I'm just wondering if you're able to go on board, or is it just really and truly down to the dock to have a look at the underside? From the photographs I saw, and also there was a YouTube video of the underside, she looked very clean after 40 years in the water. Not much weed and very little limpets and other things like that. I was quite impressed, actually, quite surprised by that. And David, Israel. I heard an Israeli station in a group with an EA and another Israeli station, and they were beaming to America. And nothing heard from America, but they were 40 over 9 here, which is incredible. Normally they're not on 20 meters. They, you know, sort of, they're 9 plus, but not 40 over 9. They're incredibly strong signals from all of them. And that was all which was on the band. There was nothing else on the 20-meter band when I was listening. That was the other night, about 3 or 4 days ago. I think conditions have got a little bit better since then. And 1 watt to the Falklands. Wow, that's fantastic. FD8 can do all sorts of things, and FD4 is probably nicer, but just takes a bit longer, and maybe you need a little bit more power than 1 watt for FD4. But you can, it's a shorter over as well, so FD8's a fairly long over these days. But interesting to note that you made it down there. I've never actually spoken to the Falklands at all in the whole of my amateur radio career, so you've done something I've never done as well. And poor old Adriana, equipment failure by the sounds of it, which is a shame, but that's life, and the modern electronics, and very difficult for one to, unless you've got a microscope and all the rest of the gear for surface mounted components, which are sort of like flea poo. But somebody described it to me. He said, looking for the resistor on the board that is just like that, and that's the one you take off. And I looked at it and I thought, no way, too much involvement. If I put my soldering iron to that, I would fry the board, and so I backed off very, very quickly indeed. Anyway, the group sounds interesting. I missed the Zoom meeting last night, and I'm just so busy here. We're trying to get another room that's been empty, not empty, but a junk room for about the last 5 years. And over today, I've been clearing it out, and that's been quite hard. We've now got a trailer load of junk to take down to the tip tomorrow to get rid of. And the room is sort of, what, 3/4 empty now. I've still got a bit further to go. But it's back to virgin house, a 300 years old house. And it's a wooden house. And down below, I don't know what you call it in English even. It's black and white and got wood, you know, and bricks in the middle of it. And a thatched roof. But this room hasn't been touched, and it's back to the same. So I'm finding all sorts of interesting things that are lying there, and all sorts of rather nasty things as well that I thought were okay and are not. But that will be a ongoing project. We've got guests coming tomorrow, so that's it curtailed until they go, which is in 5 days' time. Okay, back to you, Jeff. Owen 4JKZ. No, beg your pardon. Owen, what have I done here? I got myself all mixed up. I'm not looking at the right things here. So, beg your pardon. But anyway, back to you, Jeff. You know who you are. Owen 8NT. Forgive me. 071JKU.
JKU. From 08 November Tango in the group. No problem, Fraser. That happens to me from time to time also. And okay, interesting about the house there, and I can imagine how it looks like, because I have been in Denmark plenty times, so I have an idea of how the houses are looking there. Yeah, it's what is in German they call it Fach. Fachhouses or something, I think. Yeah, or could be that. Very nice. And also the same story like everyone tells, not good conditions, but sometimes there are some surprises and some strange effects and QSB and things like that, and something which has come out of the noise or from the emptiness, and is a good catch. So that's most of what every one of you is telling, actually. So that there were some unexpected surprises, and these are always the most beautiful surprises. Okie doke. And sorry that you missed the Zoom session, Fraser. Well, you can look to it on YouTube, of course, but that's really, really very interesting. And the guy who was telling the story was really a very good speak. It's a very good speak, I think. So I really, really enjoyed that. So back to you. Go for India Whiskey Oscar, the group of November Tango.
Oh, an 8 November Tango in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, thanks very much, Jeff, and some interesting comments there. First of all, to Adi, and of course, especially to you, Jeff, in the most amazing opportunities you take with your limited space where you live there in Belgium. But Oldham has a 60-foot tower, and on the top of it, they have the TH11DX beam, which is an 11 element Yagi for all bands from 20 through to 10. The boom of it is, I think, 24 or 25 feet long. So it's a huge antenna. So it's a fabulous station to operate. They only use a maximum of 100 watts. They've got no linear there, but obviously they do very well on the DX. From that location, having an antenna we would all love to have in our back gardens, I'm quite sure. And just picking up the comments that everyone's picked up on HF, and I'd said it on the WhatsApp group as well. HF has been very strange, hasn't it? The band seems dead, not many people on, and very quiet indeed. And then suddenly you're calling CQ, or suddenly you hear a station pop up and you make these, string of contacts. I mean, the other evening where I thought there was no one on and I was calling CQ, the reverse beacon network, when I'm using CW, gives me a good idea if I'm getting out around the world and where to. And I was literally only getting a couple of hits in the US. One as far as Asia, Russia, UA9, but nothing more exciting than that. And I ended up working, I think, 6 Japanese stations, 2 Chinese, and so on, and Thailand, Oman in the Middle East, and they kind of came out of nowhere. But as everyone's saying, they're kind of coming out of nowhere and then disappearing again, which is does make quite difficult operating. As for Poldu and James last night, he also volunteers, for those that weren't there last night, in the Marconi Centre down at Poldu, and they were operating from there today. I didn't hear them, but they're also operating on Saturday for International Marconi Day. Operating, I think the call sign is Golf Bravo 2 Golf Mike GB2 GM, and they will be part of the Marconi Day stations operating. So they would be a good one to get on in the log. And I believe that they generally work on 40 and 20 from Poldu. The other bit of history from last night, again, for those that weren't there, and thank you for that book you were giving us the heads up on, Dawn of Amateur Radio. Looks very interesting, and not one I've read. It was, what was fun about last night was Gerald Mark Hughes, G2NM, one of the pioneers really of amateur radio in the UK, who was the secretary of the Radio Society of Great Britain when it was founded. An amateur, has written a book about him, and the person who's written the book, it's available in paperback. You can buy it at bookshops and Amazon and so on. He's coming to talk at the club about Gerald Mark Hughes. And then up pops last night one of our regular listeners and people who join the net, the Zoom meetings, our Zoom meetings, popped in to Ed popped in to say that he's the holder of the call sign G2NM and GB2NM that they use at the Amberley Museum in West Sussex. So I thought that was a fabulous link that suddenly came out of nowhere, a bit like conditions on HF at the moment. You think there's not much going on, and then suddenly, as Mike was demonstrating in graphic terms, because that's a fabulous haul of DX you made there, Mike, you know, to Samoa and Fiji and so on, these nations that don't have that many operators there. So pass the microphone back to you, Jeff. ON8NT in the group from G4IWO.
G4IWO, the group ON8 November Tango. Yeah, okay, Vic. Well, an 11-meter Yagi, this is something I can only dream of course. And thank you about all the information and about the information about Bravo 2 Golf Mexico, and also the upcoming events which will be happening at the club. Really looking forward to that. Really interesting. And that's absolutely true. Yeah, that was interesting yesterday evening also that this guy mentioned that he was from that museum and holds these two special call signs. That's really a surprise. Yeah, that's interesting. That's the unexpected things of life happening. And let's go to Andrew, Mike Zero, Romeo Oscar Lima, the group, ON8 November Tango.
ON8 November Tango in the group M0ROL. Just to say what other people said, the talk last night, I think, was fascinating. It showed the other side of Marconi that I think very few of us knew about. So yeah, great talk. It was very enjoyed it on that one. And Adrian, I have to admit, the last time I went out and did a mobile activation was with you. So that was quite some while ago, really. I haven't been out much around Minehead recently. The conditions working from home, I have to say, really, I think that Mike and Jeff and also Adrian, you put me off radio almost for life now with the number of contacts you're getting worldwide. And I struggled for the other day to try and speak to David, who was only a few miles away, and I only just managed to hear him, and he couldn't hear me. So yes, I think that's certainly either something to up my game to try and do the same, or sort of put my hands in my head in shame for not being able to get out. And black and white images, yes, thank you for your kind comments about the photographs. I do like black and white, as you've probably gathered, really. And I've thrown out all the presets that I used to do and edited them from scratch now. So it's getting a different sort of look and feel to them, really, on that one. And Fraser, I think that if you knew my wife, it's the only way for me to get new equipment in the house is when she's away. Otherwise, it's like the Spanish Inquisition around here, HI. But my only outing a few weeks with the radio was an event that was going on throughout the northern part of Somerset. So it was Somerset, Bath, Bristol, North Gloucester, where we were out doing sort of multiple site communications, and someone was parked up somewhere on the top of the Mendips, deliberately blocking all our signals. So all our planning for this exercise went sort of down the pan, really, for want of a better word, because every time we keyed up,
He was obviously fairly close to one of our units up there, and he completely drowned our reception, or our signals. So it was a complete and utter washout. But we know who he is. It's just a matter of proving it, really. But anyway, that's all from me. Back to you, Jeff. 08 November Tango in the group M0ROL.
Okay, Andrew, M0ROL, the group of 8 November Tango, and I was really laughing here about the Spanish Inquisition. I would not say it's the same here, but no, it's not the same here, not at all. But I can imagine. Okay, no, yeah, and sorry about the exercise there with the bad behavior of certain amateurs. That's no pleasure. That's not good. Okay, no. Bob, I just saw the picture of you with the Marconi monument at Cape Cod, I think. Very nice picture. November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango, the group of 8 November Tango.
ONANT, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango. Well, I'm glad you like that photo. I like to go to sites like that. I wish that I could go to more. I'm afraid that my travel days are just about coming to an end, though. Adrian, congratulations on that QSO with Tom. I wish that I could have made it, and I did try, but I didn't succeed as well as you did. And I can't get over the fact that Mike got that 1 watt contact. That is something, Mike. Congratulations on that. I haven't tried that lower power 1 FT8. As a matter of fact, just recently I wanted to an amp so that I can try about 30 watts on 1 FT8 to see if I can get a few more contacts that way. Of course, I don't have a good antenna system. Fraser, I'm hoping that once they find out that I'm not going to be able to go down under the ship, because I won't be able to go down those steps, that they'll let me walk around on the outside of the ship. I doubt very seriously, though, whether I'll be able to go inside the ship. And Nick, I have worked from Poldo from GB2 GM, and you are correct on that call sign. That is the call sign there. Keith, the Marconi stations in Italy, it's my understanding that if you work all of the stations and you put the QSL cards together, that you get a picture of Marconi in the background of the QSL cards. I can't confirm that because I haven't done that, but that's what I understand. So work all the stations and let us know how it looks. Adriana, I hope that you work out the problems with G90. I'm sorry to hear that it doesn't seem to be working properly, but generally, as someone else pointed out, possibly if you reload the phone firmware and reset it, it may take the problem away. I've found that with some of my transceivers in the past. That will help. Weather here has been very strange. Right now it's 13 degrees Celsius. Tonight we expect freezing. This Sunday we expect a high of 26 Celsius. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm just, my hands are always cold anymore. So 26, maybe they'll warm up, hopefully. It's been a great net tonight. A lot of interesting information, and I'm so happy that I'm able to join it. Back to you, Jeff. ONANT N4XAT.
And for X-Ray Alpha Tango, the group of 8 November Tango. Yeah, okay. Marvelous, Bob. Very good information. And yeah, I would say something, but I forgot it. Memory. Golf 6 Zulu Sierra November, the group of 8 November Tango. Dave, it's up to you from 8 November Tango in the group.
November 8 November Tango, Golf 6 Zulu Sierra November. Yeah, I'm going to say 7 threes after this over because I am slightly tired. But that's nothing unusual for me, as Andrew knows, unfortunately. Jeff, I'm not buying the car. I will be ordering my car at the end of May. I have to change my car every 3 years because I'm on a contract as a disabled driver, and we can order certain cars. Mine's due to go back in August, so I order it 3 months in advance and hope that the new one will be there in time. But it's still good fun trying to find a car which suits both myself and my wife, which is hard, very hard. AD, I've sent you an email with the link to where I bought it from, so give them a try. I found they were very quick, 48 hours, and it's here, and it's quite well made, but obviously if you can cut acrylic, a lot cheaper that way. And some of you have been making such good contacts. I've forgotten the gentleman's name in Denmark. Yeah, possibly the guy in Israel that I was picking up, but it certainly wasn't as strong as you. I'm having very great problems picking up call signs at the moment, or even more so than usual. And when I was scanning this afternoon, I could pick up the signals, but when they try to give call signs, I just sort of give up. Try and find a better signal, but that's just me. I even tried turning my hearing aids off to see if that would work, and unfortunately it didn't. But never mind. It's one of the privileges of going deaf. HI. Okay, Jeff, thank you for running the net, and it's nice to speak to everyone tonight. Sorry I'm making this a bit short. Oscar November 8, November Tango, Golf 6, Zulu Sierra November.
Golf 6, Zulu Sierra November, and the group of an 8 November Tango. Well, thank you very much for joining the net, Dave. That's a real pleasure. Yeah, okay, about the car. Yeah, that's 100% copy now. So we're really looking forward to that, to the new model. And I hope you enjoy that. And it was about the weather, Bob, about the freezing temperature that we also have here at night, which is a problem for the wine ranks. We have wine ranks here in Belgium, and some of these wine fields were getting into problems actually because of the freezing we had now already during 3 or 4 nights. And they tried to do something about it with hot air cannons and with some fire putting into the fields and things like that. But baskets with fire, but that's not. It was not enough to help to prevent going some wine ranks. Dead, so to say. Okay, no, that's what I thought. That was what I was forgotten. So back to Germany. Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey and Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango, the group of an 8 November Tango. Go ahead, Mike and Adriana.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Yeah, we are following the example of Dave and making this our final here. Okay, but first of all, I wanted to add something about the mysteriously popping up stations on 10 meters exactly. For example, I encountered one of these phenomenon at about 1600 Zulu this afternoon. I was listening on 10 meters CW, and there was a very loud station popping up, and it was Zulu Sierra 1 Charlie, a station from near Cape Town, South Africa, and he really had a signal of 599, a real 599 signal, and it was really astonishing. I of course tried to reach him, but other people were more lucky than I was. But due to our travels here in the next few days, I've taken down the outside antennas because there may be some thunderstorms and some lightning to be expected in this weekend. So we put the antennas down, and I was only using the indoor antenna in the loft, in the garage below the tiles there. So perhaps that was the problem. But with this indoor antenna, I also reached the aforesaid station from Dingo India land, from Costa Rica, and that was working quite well. So, okay, always something to be in wonder about it, and to be not able to explain it, but that's ham radio for you, and it's okay by me. I like to be surprised with this. Okay, so thank you again for this net. Thank you, Jeff, for doing the hosting there and the chairing. Very good job. And thank you, all of you, for your company and your thoughts and good ideas. I always cherish the Thursday evening there. It's a great item in the course of the week for me. So thank you again for that. Wishing you all the very best, and stay safe and stay healthy, and hope to see you or hear you again next week, all safe and so on. So now I'm passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yes, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, first of all, thank you very much for hosting the net, Jeff. It was a pleasure, as always, to be part of the net tonight. And yes, Keith, I hope that you will recover soon, and that your voice will recover quickly. Yes, I just forgotten to mention yesterday the talk was amazing. It was quite informative, and we enjoyed it very, very much. It was very, very interesting. And yes, last week we couldn't be part of the digital net because we have been at the coast here, and the internet connection wasn't good enough to take part on the net. And yes, we had made some experiments with HF from the balcony, and we hadn't been lucky to make many contacts because the ANFET half wave, which we took with us, which is our portable ANFET half wave, had made some problems. I think it has been the balloon. We have to screw it off and make some repairings there. And then we had an alternative antenna set up. And with this antenna, we had been able to work all over Europe, but not far away. But we heard Brazil, which was quite interesting. So it was not very successful, but not unsuccessful. And yes, the G90, yes, I did a reset, and after a while, a second try of a reset, and there had been no changes. Therefore, I think it's a technical problem, something I have to test. Might be to make a firmware update, but I have not much hope that this will solve the problem, because the turnouts before it worked well, and I think it had to be repaired by the reset. But you're right, one has to try the firmware update before I send it to repair. So thank you for your advice, and thank you for your company. 73 and 88 from Northern Germany. Bye bye. See you down the lock. This was Delta Lima 8, Bravo Delta Tango, handing the microphone back to Oscar November 8, November Tango for the group.
Oh, and 8NT in the group from G4IWO. Are you still there, Jeff? Over. Oscar November 8, November Tango, G4IWO. This is G4IWO. I think Jeff was operating through the gateway and into GB7HX. And I'm not sure if he's still there, but is anyone else hearing me, or is it me that's disconnected? G4IWO, standing by.
You're loud and clear, no problem.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for confirming that. So apologies, everybody. I'll just take the rein for a second. And thank you, Fraser, for confirming that. I did forget on my last over to mention that Laura, Mike 7 Bravo Foxtrot Lima, is listening on the YouTube channel. So good evening to you, Laura, and my apologies for missing you off on the last over. I'll just take a break and see if Jeff's back. Oh, and 8NT in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO, the group of an 8 November Tango. I was kicked out for one reason or another. Just a moment, see if I'm coming back on the I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm coming back. Okay. So sorry, I in the middle of Adriana, I was disconnected from the repeater, I think, because I'm coming through the repeater to GB7 Hotel X-ray. Okay, though. So sorry for that. Anyway, congratulations, Mike, again on such a good contact 1600 Zulu. That's Zulu Sierra station and NCW, and all with your attic antenna, if I understood well. Okay, though. Thank you very much for coming in and for your contributions here, and I wish you all the very best and a good trip to Kassel. I hope to enjoy the Funda there. So and maybe I go to the next one on the list. Golf Mike 4 Juliet Kilo Zulu, the group of an 8 November Tango. Go ahead, Keith.
An 8 November Tango GM4 Jeff. Yes, fine. Thanks, Jeff. And just a couple of things to add before I depart. I apologise for not being up last week. I was actually busy cloning some solid state drives for my laptops here, just to make sure that I've got a backup laptop in case one fails on the radio station. And I suddenly realised it's 9:30, and he was obviously already party by that time, so apologies. Try not to do it again. Fraser, I must say you've got some lovely audio coming in from your neck of the woods. Not that everybody else's is bad, but it's I've got it through a Sony surround sound speaker, spare one I've got here, and it seems to chuck to it nicely, so that sounds pretty good. Bob, N4XAT, I'll try and get all the cards, but I'm not going to hold my breath, but it sounds very interesting. Put them all together, and it produces the collage of Marconi. That would be very interesting to look at. So I shall keep trying for the next few days for sure. And Adriana, yes, my voice should be better by next week, all being well. And I hope your transceiver gets sorted out as well. It's like losing an arm, I'm sure. And lastly, good evening, Laura, who's listening, as you say, on YouTube there. I'm going to go to bed tonight dreaming of one what into the Falklands, so I think I'll just leave it there, Jeff. But well done there, Mike. That's a cracker. Strangely, I'm just looking at 10 metres, and South America's coming in waves. It was -24 up to +12 at one point, and it's fluctuating up and down. So lots of stations down that way coming in at the moment up here in Scotland. Okay, Jeff, ON8NT, thanks for running the net tonight, and I'll make this my last one. So pleased you all, and have a successful and prosperous week ahead. ON8NT from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ, the group of 8 November Tango. Okay, thank you very much, Keith, for coming up on the net here despite your voice. I wish you all the best. Take care of the voice, and hope to catch you again next week here on the net. And a very good evening to Laura, to Mike 7 Bravo Fox Lima on YouTube. Very nice that you are there listening on the net, and that's good. That's really good. So we have some people there also participating in one way or another. And let's go to G6 Mexico Juliet Quebec. Adrian, the group ON8 November Tango for your final. Go ahead, Adrian.
November 8, November Tango, G600Q. It's Skelmersdale, West Yorkshire. Yeah, brilliant net tonight. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, the QSO with Tom. Yeah, we just pointed beams at each other. And the super description, Nick, of the antenna setup, I told them. I couldn't have told you all that detail. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I just stare up, we wind it up, stare up and look in amazement. Yeah, let's get on the DX3000 and have a go. And there's, as you know, there's a changeover switch. There's long wires and all sorts. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's good fun to play there. Certainly better than here. And so it takes some of the, it doesn't take any of the joy out of the contact with Tom, but it explains how we managed it, how we were help assisted. Dave, thanks for the link. Comment, headphones help a lot with readability. I wear headphones when I really want to get serious, and does help me pick stations out of the noise. But the best thing is to get away from the noise, and that's my next project, which is set up something, a sidewinder or something, and go out in the field and have a play. Even a mobile antenna on the car, and get away from the noise. Next time I might be able to tell you more about experiments with to prevent noise from a hybrid inverter on a solar energy system of a neighbour. In other words, working with the installer and the importer because of a noisy Chinese inverter. Yeah, so hopefully I'll have a bit to report on that next time. Best 7.3s to everybody. Really enjoyed it. And thanks for chairing the net, Jeff. So, cheers, bye all. And back to you, Jeff. G6MJQ, sorry, ON8 to November Tango from G6MJQ. About to go cooking.
Roger, Adrian, G6MJQ, the group of 8 November Tango. Thank you very much for participating here and for all your information. That's a good one. And yeah, looking forward to your reporting the test that you are planning there. with the inverter and things like that. I don't know exactly what you mean, but anyway, really looking forward to hear some more and to hear some about your mobile or portable operation there. Okay, let's go to Denmark. Oscar Zulu 1, Juliet Kilo Uniform, the group of 8 November Tango.
Thank you, Jeff, and from everyone, JKU to the group. Very interesting group meeting this evening, and lots of interesting stuff flying around, and lots of jealousy, one Watts, and sort of various contacts. But we do have the 6 meter band to look forward to. It's beginning to come into life again. And there are some very, very interesting contacts on that, and incredible quality signals as well sometimes, and good DX and amazing DX sometimes. Andrew, you do have my sympathies if you get the Spanish Inquisition. That's a bit of a problem, but I can feel for you there. No problem. Bob, the ship, okay, yeah. It's pity you can't maybe go on board, but if you can walk around it, you probably get a good feel for it. It'd probably be a nice thing to do as well. What were we going to say? Oh, contacts, yes. I mean, that's the wonders of amateur radio, isn't it? Sort of, you never know who's going to come out of the ether on the frequency you're listening to, or if you tune in. It's amazing. And sometimes you can hear some DX groups getting it, and then you say, well, who are they calling? And then suddenly you find out what they're calling somewhere around the other side of the world that is very unusual. Also, Laura, you've got a problem with your hotspot, I think that's what was said earlier on. Shame, but be interested to hear you next week, maybe, if you get it sorted out. Hope so. We'll look forward to that. And thanks very much indeed to you, Keith, for the audio report. Well, I'm lucky I've got a 1 gigabit fiber link here and various other bits and pieces, and it's a very good setup. So that's nice to know that some decent audio is coming out. Great. Not that not as everybody else's audio is rubbish. And since we've tweaked it a little bit and taken down the drives on some of the audios, they're even better, which is great. The first time I came on, they were a bit overdriven, some of them, and they were a bit awful. But people have just taken the drive down a bit, and that has made a tremendous difference to audio quality. Okay, 7-3 all till next week, and thanks for letting me join in the net. And back to you, Jeff. ON8 NT, 071 JKU.
Roger, 100% copy, Fraser, and I agree on your audio. It's beautiful. You probably have a radio voice. Some people have it, and some people don't have it. So that helps. And okay, about 6 meters, I'm really looking forward to the 6 meter season, which is coming up more or less. I read some reports about TEP propagation, TEP propagation between UK and South Africa, actually. So that's quite interesting. So yeah, I think in that case you will need a beam. I don't have a beam. I only have the vertical. But anyway, I can try. Could be possible on FT8. Who knows? Okay, thank you very much, Fraser, for your contribution and for being here. And I hope to catch you next week. Now let's go to Nick G4 IWO, the group ON8 November Tango.
Yes, ON8 November Tango and the group from G4 IWO. Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff, and glad you got back in the end. And I just tried to keep it going while we waited for you to reappear, as I was sure you were going to. Laura's just commented, by the way, Andrew, that she hasn't had a chance yet to put on the code plug for the radio that she's now using. So hopefully, when she does, we'll hear her back on the radio again. And I was having a look at that book, The Dawn of Amateur Radio in the UK and Greece, by Norman Jolly, G3FNJ, who's now a silent key. And it's available through the Project Gutenberg, the Internet archive of free books. So the original book is there. And I just came across something that suddenly took my mind back. Another one of the radio magazines we had in the UK for many years was called Wireless World. I don't know who remembers Wireless World, but in the 1919 issue of Wireless World, there was a leading article with a quotation attributed to Marconi, in which he said, "I consider that the existence of a body of independent and often enthusiastic amateurs constitutes a valuable asset towards the further development of wireless telegraphy." And then later that year, he wrote a letter to the editor, which they published. And he said this: "In my opinion, it would be a mistaken policy to introduce legislation to prevent amateurs experimenting with wireless telegraphy," which apparently the authorities of various countries were considering doing. "Had it not been for amateurs," Marconi wrote, "wireless telegraphy as a great worldwide fact might not have existed at all. A great deal of the development and progress of wireless telegraphy is due to the efforts of amateurs." So that's a nice little tribute from Marconi back to radio amateurs of that era, and obviously coming into the modern world as well. And, you know, people are doing fabulous things, linking together the Raspberry Pi and programming devices and, you know, creating digital VFOs and so on. And we're seeing the benefit of all that work in these wonderful commercial radios we've now got, whether they're the, you know, the Xiegu ones from China or the, you know, the much more expensive ones from companies like Icon. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to wish everyone a very pleasant evening. It's been good to have your company again, and nice to meet everyone. And I look forward to Bob telling us the tale of his visit down to the dry dock. And I know the you know, the steps down to look underneath are really difficult, and you know, Bob is quite right to express a great deal of caution about that, but you'll have a good sense of it, Bob, I'm sure, looking down from above. So I hope you enjoy that, and we'll look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to hearing from Mike and Adriana as well of their fun they've had on HF. So on that note, I wish everyone a very pleasant evening. I'm obviously going to keep listening until we finish, and we'll wish our listeners on YouTube as well a good evening when they decide to finish listening tonight or whenever they're listening to this broadcast. So back to you, Jeff. And Jeff, thank you very much for holding the fort in the absence of M0 AUG. As always, you've done a great job. ON8NT in the group G4IWO.
G4WIWO, the group of 8 November Tango. Yeah, thank you very much, Nick, for being there, and thank you very much for the tribute to amateurs about CW. That's a very nice quote there, and very good that that book is available on the Gutenberg project. I will probably go and see if I can catch that. Okie doke. Thank you very much, and hope to catch you again next week. And I think Mike Zero Romeo Oscar Lima already said goodbye. So let's go to Bob for your final. November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango, the group. ON8 November Tango, go ahead, Bob.
ON8 November Tango, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Tango. One of my big events this week was yesterday. The mailman brought me a QSL card from my trip to Nome, where I was operating my 705 QRP on battery. And this just happens to be one of the farthest contacts. It was from AC5P in Oklahoma. So I was so happy to receive that. That's the first QSL card that I've received from my solar rocks. So I was really happy to receive that. Otherwise, I've mentioned this before too, at least on another net, that I've worked 45
the United States now, URP. I still have the five hard ones to get. That's Alaska, Hawaii, Montana, Oregon, and Vermont. And of course, a couple of those are pretty far. But the way conditions have been and the way we've been talking recently, one of these mornings, one of them may just pop in and I'll be able to work them, and then they'll disappear after 5 minutes or so. But all I need is one QSO confirmed with each of those, and I'll have all 50 states with my newest rig. So there you go. Thank you very much, Jeff, for running the net. I look forward to it every week. I look forward to Thursday afternoon here so that I can get on and converse with you people, and I thoroughly enjoy it. With that, 73 to all, and 73 to you, Laura, for listening, and I'll be glad to hear when you get your hook up to your transceiver so that you can join us. 73 to all, and look forward to our next contact. ON8NT, November 4, Extra Alpha Tango.
November 4, X-ray for Tango, the group ON8 November Tango. Congrats on that QSL card there, Bob from AC5T, and another challenge working 50 states there with your QRP new transceiver. That's brilliant. I'm sure you will get that, especially if the conditions will be a little bit more good and cooperative. Thank you very much, Bob, for being there. Thank you very much for all your information. Looking forward for your story about the visit on Sunday. And I think with that, we will conclude that, because I think our German friends already say goodbye. Also, G6 Zulu Sierra November, Dave said goodbye, and also Pete said goodbye. I would say, please keep up the good mentality there, keep up the good work, and hope to catch you all again next week. And all have a nice week, and probably better weather and conditions. 73 from OS.